Take a break and join us. Gold Town, the Pahrump Nugget, and Lakeside Casinos.
In this week's court report, Jeremy Kane Burch, Jeannie Louise Newberry, and Thomas Schwartz have now all been sentenced for the 2018 murder of James Dean Remster in Tonopah. The 62-year-old victim is Burch's late father-in-law. The victim had been living with his daughter and his son-in-law, Burch, and the wife has stated that she was working on getting a divorce from Burch. Remster's body was found thrown down an abandoned mine shaft 30 miles east of Tonopah earlier this spring. According to the Pahrump Valley Times, detectives questioned Burch at his Tonopah residence after a missing persons report was filed for the victim. Police say after that interview, Burch fled to Amarillo, Texas. Then after several interviews during this investigation, it was discovered Burch had told people he killed Remster. Burch was arrested back in March, one day after the victim's body was discovered in that mine shaft. Newberry and her brother, Schwartz, were both arrested in July for charges connected to that murder after text messages between the suspects were found on Newberry's phone. Police say Schwartz told them that Newberry, Burch, and Remster all went to the mine shaft. Newberry then left Burch and Remster, and when she returned, Burch had killed Remster. Then Newberry assisted Burch cutting barbed wire from outside the mine shaft so Burch could throw Remster inside. There's no specific public word exactly why she assisted Burch. The pair then went back to their residence and told Newberry's brother what happened. Burch told Schwartz he wanted to make it look like the victim left town, so the two men burned several of the victim's belongings in the desert. Burch made a guilty plea agreement, and after two of the victim's family members made statements in court about how the killing affected their family, Burch was sentenced to 10 years to life, consecutive to 24 to 60 months in prison, credit for time served of 119 days, and $1,022 in restitution. And the victim's family will also ask for an additional amount of restitution for the victim's funeral costs. And in a shocking turn during the female defendant Newberry's recent sentencing hearing, Burch's estranged wife, who is the victim's daughter, took the stand to testify about how the crime has affected her and her family. Then, after another family member testifies, Newberry is sentenced to serve 2 to 5 years in prison with 122 days credit for time served, along with all the standard fines and fees in accordance with her guilty plea agreement. Finally, Newberry's brother, Schwartz, also pleaded guilty to the charge of obstructing a public officer, a misdemeanor, and he will pay $665 in fines and $649 for extradition expenses from California. Consequently, Schwartz's original charges, accessory to murder and destroying evidence, were dropped, and Schwartz got a 142-day suspended sentence that will be suspended after 2 years of him reporting to the court and staying out of any other legal trouble. This has been your court report. I'm Eunette Gentry for News 25.